Welcome. Ziggy1X here with another NieR reincarnation video. And today I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'd like to introduce a new series of videos, a mini series of videos that I'm putting together. And I'd like to start it out with a personal story from my years gone by, my distant past. Once upon a time, I worked as an independent contractor. And when you work as an independent contractor, you abide by the law of feast and famine. Either you do really, really well or you do really bad. And it's up to you to plan and to budget and to make sure that during those times of feast that you're setting enough aside to sustain you through the famine. Now, this works, but sometimes your industry decides to take a nosedive and go AWOL for about 3 years straight. In circumstances like this, it's hard to plan for that. And so I changed my career trajectory and moved into a more steady, even though paying less, a more steady profession, something along the same lines of where I had years and decades of past experience, but I was able to use my skills and to collect a steady paycheck. Even though I'm making less per hour and per year, I'm able to budget myself better, and I'm able to plan for all the inevitabilities because I know exactly how much is going to be coming in every week, every month. I'm able to adjust my budget accordingly, and when I do collect on those extra paychecks occasionally, those get set aside for emergency purposes just in case, because there is always that just in case that comes around. So even though I'm technically living with less, I'm actually enjoying more. So how is this relevant to NieR reincarnation? Well, let's talk about this a little bit. Through my own personal finances and through my own planning, I was able to create a living situation for myself and my family, which was sustainable, which was comfortable, and which benefited my life in the long run. So let's talk a little bit about how this, my own personal experience, my own business savvy as it is, and my own life experience, my own incalculable wisdom. Hopefully my wife never sees this because she'll fall out of her seat laughing. But my own incalculable wisdom. How can we apply life experience and practical experience and common sense into NieR reincarnation to where it can become a game that falls under a few key factors that every game and every product in general needs to survive. So let's talk about this a little bit. I'm breaking it down into 3 categories, and I'm going to build a brief video based off of each of these categories. We're going to dive into it. We're going to explore these a little bit briefly. I'm not going to make these big 10-20 minute videos. I want them to be easily digestible, and I want people to be able to walk away understanding maybe a little bit better as to how these things could benefit them. And maybe, just maybe, there's some developer out there who has taken note of my channel or taken note of the community over here on the global side and is paying attention to these things. And just maybe we can have this discussion and save the game that we love so much. So let's take these by the numbers real quickly. First, there has to be a value in the product. Value is usually created by scarcity and or uniqueness. Second, there has to be reliability and consistency in the product. And third, there has to be a realistic way to incentivize people to invest in the product. So let's talk about this a little bit. Part 1, precious as gold and silver. Why is gold and silver precious? We'll talk about that. How does this apply to NieR reincarnation? We'll talk about that too. Part 2, remember back to the feelings and the emotions that you had when you first picked up your phone or your iPad or your tablet and you first entered the cage. Remember the exhilaration that you felt by diving into a new world of NieR, a new Yoko Taro story that you could explore and have a gotcha mobile experience, which is fun. It's the reason why we play these games, because there is an exciting element to that. but also that you can explore a beautifully rendered and realized and the beautiful stories and the creative stories and characters that have been woven carefully into this world. Remember back to that first time. Remember how excited you were. For me personally, I was hesitant to download this game because I was afraid that I would get into it and that I would commit a lot of time to it, and I just didn't have a whole lot of time to commit. And so I hesitated in downloading it. I probably waited a week or two after the game launched before I actually dove into the cage myself. But when I did, I stayed up hours past my bedtime, the bedtime that I made for myself, and I spent weeks losing sleep because I was so engrossed in this game and having so much fun exploring the different elements and hearing the different stories and the little dopamine drip that you get from playing games that you're really excited about. That was me, and that was probably a lot of you as well. And third, who is paying for all this anyways? Because someone has to pay for it. And I'm going to compare this to the open marketplace of insurance. And any of you who know how insurance works, the marketplace works, you'll understand exactly where I'm going with this. So I'm going to leave this video here for now. This will be a brief video, but it is simply acting as an introduction. I hope it piques your interest enough to where you tune in for the next 3 videos, and we can continue this discussion over on social media where I post these videos. We can continue it in the comments of YouTube. We can continue it over on Discord, wherever else it takes place. But let's have this conversation, because I think this is a good conversation to have. And I think that maybe some of the frustration that personally I've been experiencing in the game lately, it doesn't have to do so much with the quality product that we already have. It has to do with these other features that I brought up and some of the other things that I brought up in past videos. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave it with you guys, and we are going to, together as a community, we are going to save NieR Reincarnation. So until next time, peace out, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.